Hey Blades fans, welcome back to another Florida Everblades pregame show from Hertz Arena. We're here for round one of the Kelly Cup playoffs. Alongside Jake Maurice, I'm Ali Vellucci. Jake series split 1-1. Florida goes up 5-0 in game one against South Carolina. Tough loss on Monday night, 4-0. At what point did you see things shift there in game two?
I think game two, South Carolina was just really upset with the way they played in game one. Florida, it was one of, if not the best games they played all season game one. Looked just like the Kelly Cup champions from last year. Game two, as expected, South Carolina responded. Florida, they played well in the second and third period. They just could never find that goal to get them back in the game. Eventually, South Carolina iced it with an empty netter. And what we saw in both games is that you need to have a strong start, because if you let the other team get off to a really good start, both teams with a 3-goal first period for themselves in their respective wins, it's pretty much impossible to come back with how defensively strong these two teams are and with the excellent goaltending both teams had on display.
We have to talk about the penalty minutes in game two. 74 combined penalty minutes for both teams. Jake, 2 of the 3 goals for South Carolina were on the power play. Florida's PK struggling a little bit. Where do you expect to see some shifts there, some adjustments maybe?
Well, you look back to game one where the Everblades were perfect on the penalty kill and had 2 power play goals of their own, so you're going to look to that and see what worked there, what didn't. A big part of it is just confidence, getting early good opportunities. In game two, when Florida had power plays in the first period, they really didn't get anything going with it. In game one, they did. They scored on their first power play, Sean Jostling opening the scoring, and that got the Blades moving in the right directions. Same way the other way. South Carolina, in their power plays in game one, did not look at all like the unit they were in the regular season. On their first one in game two, it took a little while, but Kevin O'Neill buries one, and all of a sudden they're feeling good about themselves. So confidence, momentum, always huge in the playoffs. It's factored out big in this series. And as for the penalty minutes, that's just these two teams that hate each other, right? This is the 8th playoff series all time. Tons of history between these two teams, 2 of the most storied ECHL franchises, one of, if not the league's best rivalries. Of course, it's going to get nasty, and it's probably going to continue for all 3 of these games this week.
The feistiness is alive and well during this series. This is the first time, game two was the first time all season that back-to-back lineups were the same. Head coach Brad Ralph didn't make any adjustments. I'm wondering, now we're going into game 3, split series. Do you think we're going to see any adjustments? He's going to stay the same, not take a risk here. What do you think? Where do you think he's going to go with it?
Well, for sure, Cam Johnson starting, no doubt about that. And given the way he played, also in the game on Monday, he played pretty well in that one. He's going to get the start again. Apart from that, I doubt we're going to see any real changes with the top parts of the lineup, top 4 defense, top 6 forwards. All of them showed, especially in game one, that they're here to stay. Maybe a little bit of tweaking in the bottom of the lineup. I would say it's more likely we see lines shifting around as opposed to players coming in and out. Certainly, we're not going to see what we saw from South Carolina between games 1 and 2, where they shifted out 4 players from their lineup and put in 4 new ones. We're not going to see that. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see a little bit of tweaking, certainly, especially maybe in those bottom 6 forwards, kind of shifting out the lines a little bit there. But I don't think this is going to be any sort of big shift.
For South Carolina, Chaz Redekop was out for game 1. Josh Wilkins was out for game 2. They're both going to be back here for game 3. How do you expect to see Florida adjust to that, or maybe mentally prepare for 2 of their top people back in the lineup?
Well, we saw in game 2 with Redekop back, he changed the defense core, the physicality, all definitely. That certainly helped out with the penalty minute total in that game. And Josh Wilkins coming back. He is the most dangerous stingray. He went out early in game 1 when he got the game misconduct. Huge for the Blades in that one. Unfortunately, they couldn't capitalize in game 2 with him out. And now having him back, he was excellent against Florida this season. He was leading their team in points throughout the year. Just one of the best forwards in the South Division. And it's always tough to see your opponent get a strong player back like that. But you were game planned for him in game 1, and it worked out pretty well. Just got to do the same thing again here tonight.
Head coach Brad Ralph mentioned that having fresh legs coming into game 3 is going to be a major focus for him. Team Jake, from your perspective, what do you think Florida's focus needs to be coming into this one?
Well, it needs to be that this is a huge chance to take control of this series. 3 straight games at home. I'm certain if you were to go back last week to Friday and tell the team that, hey, you'd have a 1-1 split coming out of South Carolina in the first 2 games, they'd be more than all right with that, because that gives them a chance now to take control of the series. Obviously, if we win all 3 games at home, then you move on to the next round. That would be great. But if you can take 2 of 3 here, it makes things much easier on yourself throughout the rest of the way. And it starts tonight with a pivotal game 3. You want to take advantage of home ice. You want to take advantage of this crowd that's going to help you out, as opposed to the other way around, where South Carolina's crowd in game 2 certainly helped them out once the Stingrays gave them something to cheer about early with a power play goal. And then also just make sure that you're focused on doing the right thing shift by shift. You can't really think too far ahead in a game. You can't be looking up at the scoreboard and trying to make that change your play if you're up or down. You've just got to stick to your plan no matter what the score is and trust that things will work out for you.
All right, here we go. Some pregame show magic. I'm going to go number 12, Andrew Fighton. Always comes through when you need him to. And I just think he's a solid player all around. People, I think, play different around him. And when he's out there, you can tell he's buzzing. He's always around.
Yeah, he is. And he was another player who he didn't really show up in the penalty box,
Right.
but he was certainly involved in a
Correct.
lot of the physical stuff. For me, physically, I'm going to go with the captain, Ben Masella.
Great choice.
You expect the leader to
Yep.
lead the way. It's the his first playoff game at home.
Yep.
With the C on his chest, he's going to
Yep.
want to show out big.
Yep.
And especially if the Blades are able to take a lead, and that's holding on in the third period, he's going to be playing a lot of hockey tonight.
Correct.
So the Blades are going to need him at his best.
We've already talked about it a little bit, but 3 keys of the game. What do you got?
Well, first off, goaltending. I imagine for South Carolina, they're going to start with Clay Stevenson. Got the shutout. You want to keep
Yep.
him going again. So it looks like, at least right now, based on the way Tyler Wall played in Game 1, the Stingrays have found their starter. So you need to find a way to break through Stevenson. I would say earlier, the better
Yep.
in this game. Another key, obviously, it's going to be special teams. We saw how the swing of the special teams battle helped in a major way change the fortunes in this series. Florida dominates Game 1. South Carolina dominates Game 2. I'd imagine things overall in the series, not just on the special teams, will kind of even out in this game, but you still, if you can find that little bit of an edge, whether it's a big kill or getting a timely power play goal, that could very well sway the series tonight.
All right, Blades fans, here we go. Round 1, Game 3. Get loud for some playoff hockey. Warm-ups and puck drop are up next.